want to share a few words as a tribute to my dear, wonderful mother-in-law, Mrs. Esther Serebryanski, Oleha Sholem. I came to the family in 1983 when I engaged my wife, her oldest daughter, Bashi, and met her for the first time shortly before I married in Melbourne in 1984, February of 1984. So it's 41 years that I knew my mother-in-law. I didn't know her in the capacity as, of course, the children, but I just want to share some heartfelt feelings. And I hope that people watching this and hearing this will be inspired to learn from her ways. My mother-in-law was a very intelligent person. She came from American, Brooklyn life in the 1930s. That means the Depression years. There wasn't any money, there wasn't any food. I don't mean any at all, but it was very scarce and it was difficult. Her mother was a tremendous educator as well as her father. Her mother was handpicked by Mrs. Mandel, and they started the base, what became to be known as the Beis Yaakov. The Beis Yaakov of America, the first one was started by my wife's grandmother, my shviger's mother, who was handpicked. They were living, I think, in Jersey City at the time. Mrs. Mandel came with her son Pinchas, and they took a ferry because that time it was very difficult. There weren't all the means of transportation, and they pleaded with her. They heard that she was a European and she was an educator, and they wanted her to come. Her husband had a job at the time, I believe, as a rabbi in a shul there or somewhere, and he agreed, and they moved over to Brooklyn. My mother-in-law inherited these qualities of fine education, refinement, and sensibility, calmness, thoughtfulness, and forgiveness. Many a times I heard from her, okay, we disagree and we go on. She had her opinion. She was no slouch. Esther Serebryanski was an opinionated person, but with proper opinions. Nevertheless, sometimes you disagree. How did she deal with that? What I saw was she just let it go and went on. Growing up in America during the 1930s and 40s, her mother passed away when she was 12 years old in 1942. She was born in 1929. Her mother passed away in 1942. It was devastating for her and her older sister, Rachel Fogelman, Rebbetzin Fogelman, Herschel Fogelman of Worcester, the Chabad Shliach there. His wife, Rachel, may she be well, is 2 years older than my shviger. And the two girls grew up in a way as teenagers on their own. And as difficult and sad as that is, it made them stronger. It really did. Each of them in their own way, they're very different people. But they both became stronger because of the great loss. My mother-in-law never forgot her mother. She would talk to her mother, my wife tells me, in the kitchen, and sing to her mother. And this was till my children remember her doing similar, as an 85-year-old woman. She was educated, both Jewishly and in secular history, for example. She was very well versed in American history, in Jewish history, and it was that panoramic view that she brought to the table, that she brought to her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and all people around her. And I must say probably the thing that she was known for most was her open house hospitality. My wife just told me last night, people who are calling to comfort my wife say, "Oh yeah, whenever I needed a cup of coffee, I just walked into the kitchen and made myself a coffee." Now, of course, my father-in-law, Chaim Serebryanski, gets due credit for that as well. But the one who was home pretty much was my mother-in-law, and it didn't fathom me. You could knock on the door. You're not knocking on the door. You come in. You want a cup of coffee. And where did she speak to people? And people used to speak to her, and she used to counsel people unofficially in the kitchen. Okay? While she's cleaning the dishes, while she's making food. We need to learn from this that if you want to help a person, and you should help people if you can, in any way, shape, or form, you don't need an office. You don't need a dining room. You don't need a couch. Wherever you are, you could help. Yeah, understandably, Dira no, Marcheves Daita Shalodem, a beautiful apartment, home, furnished and elegant and all of that broadens one's perspective and it adds to the experience, but it's all about the heart, the communication, the care, the love. And I saw this. There was no isms, about her. There was no shtick. It's just like, okay, what's the issue? Let's talk about it. And she heard you out. One of the people that called said that when the last 25 years, 35 years of her life, she was basically 30 years in America as from birth to she married in 1959. Then she moved to Australia with my father-in-law till 1990, and then they came back, and she passed away here. So she was 30 in America, New York, New Jersey, and all that. Then 30 in Melbourne, Australia, and then again 35 years in Brooklyn. So someone said that while she was in Brooklyn the last 35 years, they invited her to come to Rikers Island to do mivtzoyim, to inspire, talk to the women and about Yiddishkeit. And the lady that took her there she would go regularly, but she brought my mother-in-law as a guest. So the lady, did her regular thing, whatever. Then she asked my mother-in-law, "Would you like to say something?" And my mother said, "Fine." And she said to the people, she asked them, "What do you think about God?" In other words, she totally didn't do the expected normal thing, Do you want to put on film? Do you want to light Shabbos candles? And things like that. And then she engaged them with a song. She sang for them. And the woman, who's an intelligent, fine, Lubavitcher woman who knows what she's doing, said it changed her entire attitude how to do the mivtzoyim, the outreach. This was I think at Rikers Island, okay, a prison. Again, what do I hear? What do I see in this story that enamorates me? Is that she didn't come with formalities. The whole idea of coming with formalities is a hindrance. It's a big hindrance. She broke through the formalities, the convention. And she didn't have to break through it. That's who she was. So I want to ask everyone to think about these things. Melbourne, she was there. This is for the shloshim that will be Sunday night in Mitzvah in Melbourne. I wish I could be there, but this is our participation. May Hashem help the neshama of Esther Bas. Moshe Mordechai should have an aliyah, should bring Mashiach, should be a good advocate for her entire family, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and we should continue doing what she wanted, which is to learn Pirkei Avos, to learn, and not just learn, but to live Pirkei Avos. This was something that she taught as her number one go-to was Pirkei Avos. Yizichra Baruch, Kitzur V'anu Sheikh Na'afa V'hi B'toichon. Mashiach should come now. Amen v'yamen.